Okay, so let's continue our discussion on theory of constraint, but this time we will try to look on some problem, okay, so that for you to really understand the concept of constraint. Okay, let's look at problem number 1. Okay, assume that a worker is able to work for 8 hours a day. Okay, so information in this problem is given. There are 5 activities with different number of hours. From activity 1 to activity 5, 3 to 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, then 2 hours again, and 3 hours. Okay, so the total is what? 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 hours of activity. If the worker should participate in all of the activities from sequence 1 to 5, which of the activities would be dropped? Okay. Now, again, if we are going to look at the limited resource of the worker in terms of time, he only has 8 hours of working time. So if it is required that he does the activity sequential, so we start with activity 1, that's 3 hours. Then activity 2, that's 2 hours. So that's already 5 hours. Activity 3 makes it 6 hours. And lastly, activity 4 of total of 8 working hours. So, ano na yung mangyayari dun sa 3 hours for the activity 5? Well, in this problem, we can see that the worker cannot accommodate the additional 3 hours for the activity. Okay? Now, please highlight the constraint here is the time. Okay? Kaya nga may there are some saying that time is gold, time is money. Ito yun, concept na yun. Kasi limited ang time natin. And sometimes, okay, what we ought to do is to choose what activities will make you improve yourself or give you more opportunity. Okay? In this problem, pinapahita lang natin that time is limited and it can be a source of constraint. And if the company or a company requires all of this, okay, requires all of this to be done, then possibly yun na yung mga overtime. Okay? However, pagdating sa entity, sa perspective ng entity, if you see this, if you are requiring one worker to engage in these activities, dapat ma-engage na activity 1 to 5, then therefore, you might want to reconsider, okay, the number of hours. Okay? So, let's look at this. Activity 1, 3 hours siya. Is it possible that this can be shortened? Okay? Now, dyan napapasok yung if you're going to look at closely in detail, what are the composition of the activity 1? What processes are involved in this activity? So, kung meron tayo makitang mga, please take note of the term, non-value adding activities or process. Anong ginagawa natin dyan, guys? Non-value adding processes should be eliminated. So, kunyari, dun sa 3 hours na yon, meron tayong cooling time. For example, in activity 1, it requires that the produce should be cooled off. Kailangan palamigin. And it takes at least 2 hours. Okay? 2 hours para lumamig yung, let's say, part of the product. Then, meron kang 2 hours of non-value adding process. Okay? So, anong possible na gawin ng company? They will look at alternative if this cooling process can be eliminated. If not, kung kailangan pa rin siya talagang palamigin, then they have to invest on machineries or equipment to what? To enhance or to fasten the cooling activity. So possibly, if they conducted that, okay, may non-value adding process tayo, 2 hours yon, okay? Madaling araw na, guys. 2 hours yon if they invest in, guys, pa-silent ha, naririnig yung ibang noise, okay? So again, going back, so kung 2 hours yon, they invested in additional equipment, shortening the time of cooling into 1 hour, then minus 1 hour na to activity 1 natin. Okay? Now, dun sa activity 2, 2 hours, let's say that is transfer of goods. If ito ay manual, let's say manual meaning kukunin yung box, dadalhin from point A to point B, then it will surely take time. Baka possible, let's give the employee equipment. Anong equipment yung possible na ibigay so that mapabilis yung process nito? Okay, possible if it involves transferring one product or one raw material from point A to point B, possible bigyan mo siya ng push cart. Okay? If masyadong mabigat, makikita mo to sa mga sa mga malalaking warehouses. They have their what they call this lifter. Ililift yung let's say sets of boxes, then it will be transferred. Para siyang golf cart pero meron siyang parang kamay na doon mo ipapatong yung mga goods. Mas mabilis mo maipa-transfer yung product. So again, if you invest on those, possible ma-cut off yung time into 1 hour or less or more. Okay? Doon sa activity 5, since total nito 11 hours, 'di ba? Nakatipid ka na 1 hour sa activity 1, activity 2. So kung 8 hours yung work ng worker, so possible para ma-compress mo lahat ng activity ng isang worker in 8 hours, you also look at activity 4 and activity 5. Kung may matitipid ba na oras diyan. Okay, let's say sa activity 4 talagang compressed na siya, lahat na ng improvements na incorporate na. Pero yung activity 5 kasi this is the packaging na, and the packaging is being done manually. So kung manually yan, kamay-kamay, tapos meron tayong let's say mga sealer, baka possible naman na the packaging can be done by a machine. So ang gagawin lang, let's say per batch yung gagawin na packaging since it's the same product. The company might provide additional machinery. But again, depende kasi yan sa goal ng company. If they are looking for to save from expenses, okay? Yes, sabihin natin, or they are looking for, kasi kapag nag-invest ka sa machinery, you will be having a capital outlay or meron kang cash outflow dyan. So therefore, some of the companies, yung perception nila doon, labas sa pera na naman. Saan tayo kukuha ng pera? Kulang pa nga yan sa operation natin. However, what they do not see is the long term. Okay? The long-term effect of this. So kung yung employee masyadong napapagod, possible ba na mag-resign yung employee? Okay? And, syempre, tao lang yan. Limited ang energy, limited ang productivity. Pero kung meron mga aid ng machinery or advanced technology, then the work will be easier. Now, effectivity of production, syempre if involved ang machineries and other equipments, it will be more efficient in production. Lalo na kunyari packaging, may iiwasan mo yung possibility na hindi uniform yung packaging ng product. Okay? Although hindi 100%, but rest assured, if you invest in equipment, possible na tumaas ang effectivity and efficiency ng production ng isang entity. Okay? So with that, if makatipid ka uli ng 1 hour on activity 5, then therefore, all the activities can be accommodated within the working hours, which is 8 hours a day. So day in, day out, kung ma-improve mo, ma-eliminate lahat ng non-value adding activities, then better for the company. Now, practical application for students, no? Lalong-lalo na sa quarantine period, you may want to look at your activities for the day. Let's say 8 hours lang yung iaalat mo na na hours for study, then you make most of the hours, you make most of the 8 hours. Dun ba sa 8 hours na yon, meron ba time na hinahanap mo pa yung mga notebook and books mo? Maybe you have to be organized on your workplace or your study place na nandun na lahat. And therefore, pagkagising mo, after you take a bath, you attend to all your school works, then you maximize your time. So, kung less than 8 hours yung na-consume mo, then therefore, may time ka pa to watch, to relax, or really to look on other stuff to learn. Ganun din kasi sa company. Ang difference lang, when we are talking about entities, they have monetary value consideration. Sa personal life natin, yung learning and absorption of knowledge. However, syempre, ibang usapan if companies. We're looking at the dollar or peso conversion of an activity. So, dun tayo magpo-focus on our second problem. Okay, now, second problem. Okay. Now, almost same data, guys. Okay, we have 5 activities. However, meron tayong iba-ibang payout. There are different payout for every activity. Let's say, this assumption, no, kasi in the US, some of the employees there have 2 to 5 jobs. Okay, depende kung ano yung offering. Okay, so that they can sustain their living. Dito kasi minsan, 'di ba, very possessive ang mga entities that if you want to work with us, you have to work with us full time. So 8 hours a day dapat nasa school ka. For example, as a professor, if you are a full-time professor, National University would maximize our time. So dapat 8 hours nandun ka sa NU campus. But syempre, right now, it will not be possible because of the COVID pandemic. But going back, sa US or other countries, they are allowed to have multiple jobs. And they are, of course, if they are going to apply the theory of constraint, they have to choose what job will give them the maximum payout. Now, look, in our problem, okay, as you can see, there are 5 activities, and the assumption is that a worker is able to work for 8 hours a day, and he or she has the freedom to choose what work to engage to. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, the only constraint is dapat, the only constraint would be the 8 hours. Kasi 8 hours pa rin dapat yung allocation. Pag sumobra ka sa 8 hours, siguro, baka hulihin ka na ng police, overwork ka na. Okay? For example lang, so for example, 8 hours lang talaga yung pwede niyang gamitin every day. Okay? So sa 8 hours, if you want, the issue here is there is a constraint on time. We only have 8 hours. So dun sa 8 hours na yon, we can maximize the 8 hours if we can see the amount of payout. since dito, no, we are given the payout. Okay, on this column, the payout. And in this column is the hours required. Okay? For 3 hours work, you will be paid out 300 peso. On activity 2, 300 peso ang payout. However, you would only be working for 2 hours. Activity 3, 1 hour is 125 peso. Activity 2 is 500 peso. And, activity 4 is 2 hours. Payout is 500. And lastly, activity 5 is 4 hours and 800 payout. Now, ang question natin dito kasi, if you're going to total here kasi, 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4, that's total of 4 plus 2, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 3, that's 12 hours in total. Okay, so total natin dito 12 hours. However, ano yung constraint natin? We only have 8 hours of time that we can allocate. Okay? Now, ang question natin, what activity should the worker choose to maximize his or her time? So again, we are being given with monetized value in form of the payout. Now, how will the worker maximize his time, his 8 hours, so that he can gain the maximum amount that he can? Okay. Now, this procedure or the procedure that we are going to use is very simple. Okay. Ita mo kasi iba-iba yung number of hours, iba-iba rin yung payout. However, we can simplify this by having a standard. Okay? What are we going to do? We have to make all activities, okay? We have to make all activities comparable. Okay, since ang business natin, there is a total payout for a certain number of hours being done. So therefore, what we can do is compute. Okay, compute for the payout per hour. Okay? Once ma-compute natin yung payout per hour, makikita na natin kung what activities we should prioritize and which activities would have less priority. Okay? Now, easy for activity 1. 300 divided by 3 hours, that will give us 100 peso per hour. Activity 2, 300 divided by 2 hours, that will give us 150 per hour. Activity 3, that's also already given, so 125 peso per hour. Then activity 2, activity 4, 500 divided by 2, that will give us 250 per hour. And lastly, activity 5, 800 divided by 4 hours, that will give us 200 per hour. Okay. Now, to look at this, it is already comparable because we are considering a per hour payout. Now, if the worker wants, okay, to maximize his earnings, okay, he or she has to choose the highest payout per hour. Okay? So, ano yung magiging priority natin? Of these 5 activities, the highest would be activity number 4. Okay? Okay. Meron na tayong 2 hours to be consumed. So, let's highlight 2 hours. Okay? So, ilan na lang yung naiwan sa atin? 8 hours minus 2 hours, we still have 6 hours so that we can use. So let's rank the second. Okay. Second, 200 per hour. Okay. That is for 4 hours. So therefore, we already have 6 hours. Okay. Now next, 6 hours exhausted. The next from the 3, activity 100, 150, and 125. Then therefore, we choose activity number 2 for 2 hours. Have we exhausted the 8 hours? Yes. 2 plus 2 plus 4, that's 8 hours. And we chose the highest yield of 200, 250, 200, and 150. So if we are going to choose that, we have 300, we have 500, and 800. For a total of 300 plus 500, 800 plus 800, total 1,600 per 8 hours a day. If you are going to choose the activity that will give you the highest return. Okay? That is how you deal with constraint. You try to put on amount so that you would know what to prioritize and what would be given less priority. Okay? So with that, I hope you have learned something, and peace out, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right, be safe, guys. Hope to see you in the following months. Bye, guys.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye.